Welcome to Death Metal Chronicles Technology Adventures number 2, I think, of this series. I'm Wolf. Awesome. So what have you guys been working on this week? What have you guys been working on? What's new?
Like on a technical level, or just
In the tech world.
I'm working on my Red Hat certified engineer, so I've been doing fucking a lot of web server stuff. Specifically, I've been wanting to get better with the just using the front end for the on Unix systems. The OpenSSL library has a like toolkit front end, and I've been wanting to get better using that because that's essentially what I'm using whenever I'm using anything else to make like a key or certificate. It's just interfacing with the OpenSSL library, and I'm like, why not just cut out the middleman? But it's like an absurdly feature rich.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's been like it was like daunting. It still is kind of daunting. I'm also not putting forth the time effort. I've just been using it for what I need it to, like creating SSL certificates for secure sites.
What programs would you use that to do?
What do you mean?
To make an SSL key?
Just the OpenSSL library.
Just the library itself?
Yeah, there's a toolkit front end for it. I can show you on some sort of a Linux distribution if we can get that going.
I'm just gonna open up Kali for this. It's just gonna be easier, I guess.
You're going through Windows.
Or open up Windows and open up VMware Player.
Or I mean, I got CentOS on my guy, if necessary.
Yeah.
So what's your background, Rob? What do you do for work?
I'm a data recovery engineer.
Data recovery engineer. Is there a sweet acronym for that?
DRE.
The DRE.
Oh.
You're a DRE.
Yeah, I'm a DRE. It's a job.
That's legit.
Don't make as much as you would think, considering I have engineer in my job title.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So is it not something you'd be pulling down like 200, 300 a year? What's for someone getting a data recovery?
$100 a year, maybe.
100,000?
Like $300 a year. No, not even. No.
Really?
No.
So for someone who wants to become a data recovery engineer guy, what can they really expect to be making?
I don't know. I mean, like, I don't make a ton.
Mm-hmm.
You might make more if you've actually like I went into it without any experience, so.
Really?
Yeah.
And is it really focused on a lot more government contracts, or is there a lot of commercial work that you can do?
I think that's going to depend on the company. We do a lot of it's really funny.
It's really hot.
We do a lot of like end user type stuff. We get less businesses sending our stuff than I would like, just as an employee.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd make us look better, you know. There's some and it seems kind of like since it's on a case by case basis. There's like certain agencies we tend to have a good relationship with.
Yeah.
We have a great relationship with NASA for whatever reason. They seem like we get a lot of stuff from NASA.
So I mean, there is a lot of government contracts. I mean, it's not entirely government, but there's a lot of commercial work as well.
Yeah, and I mean, it's I don't like necessarily doing government work because like we charge them less, and they're sometimes a bitch to deal with. But not as bad as government contractors. Those are even worse.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, how could having a government contractor as your client be bad?
In my experience, the bureaucracy we deal with the government seems to just be increased for whatever reason. We're dealing with government contractors. We had a company, I'm not going to name names, but they, at one point, they sent something for recovery, and it was encrypted, and as a necessary part of that, we need to be able to decrypt it,
Yeah.
And they wouldn't. They were like, no. And we actually, I believe we will charge money in that case anyways, because we're like, look, we did the work. You're the one who's preventing us from completing this.
And in that job, did you have a TSSCI or whatever the clearances you needed to have for?
I don't have any clearances.
Oh, okay. So this is probably also the problem, is they didn't actually have someone who had a TS to do the job. Or, I mean, a secret clearance, or whatever
I would
clearance
imagine.
was.
And I don't know. And it's, yeah. Actually, that probably would be part of it, and I think...
Oh,
honestly,
totally.
And the company I work for wouldn't, which is kind of funny. Like it would pay off for us to have clearances, but like they wouldn't do that because that's not like the immediate benefit isn't there,
Yeah.
Versus what they'd have to expend to get us to have clearances.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand kind of where, if you're a data recovery guy, if you're going to be pigeonholed into doing government work, or can you remain a commercial guy and only do commercial work?
Well, I mean, we are a commercial company, but like, yeah, you won't. We're pretty just like whoever, like you. That didn't. That you can just. I mean, it's like you're not necessarily going to be doing a ton of government work. Ideally, one would hope.
Yeah.
The government would, and government contractors are going to be competent enough that they're not going to need us, backups and whatnot. But that's not always true.
What's your advice for guys who are getting their data recovery certifications or degrees?
Those don't exist that I'm aware of. Although there's like forensic stuff, but there's definitely a difference between forensics and huge difference between forensics and data recovery. So.
What would be your advice to get into doing the work?
Don't. It's not that tight. I would rather do forensics.
Really?
Yeah.
I see that fairly odd. And how much is it different between the two? For someone who doesn't know, what is the difference between data recovery and forensics?
Well, I have to deal with like physical failures of drives and stuff, which is a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm. Because you have to rebuild it.
Yeah, and stuff like that, and it's just that's a pain in the ass. And then there's like a lot of the work has to do with like drive firmware and stuff when that fails.
Yeah,
and that's also just a bitch because it's like being in the position of like just not having enough information out there about stuff, because we're basically essentially dealing with like closed source software that's very hard to learn about, when we're dealing with this firmware.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's not actually on the GNU license or
no, it's
on. I don't even know.
No, and it can just be a pain to deal with, but it's I can't necessarily even say I know a ton about forensics.
Yeah.
On that note,
If you like right now in this stage of the jobs recovery, do you suggest people getting their computer sciences degree, or what do you kind of suggest to get into doing technological work?
I mean, it depends on what you're going into. I mean, a college degree is, the new high school degree, at this point.
Wow.
More or less. So it's like you kind of need to have that. But, I mean, if you're going in, it really depends on what you're doing. If you want to get a job programming, you kind of need to, you don't need, but you kind of need a computer science degree, Wow. If you want to be like do like network stuff, you go get your Cisco certs, you can probably get away without having a college degree. You're probably going to hit what I call like the paper ceiling at some point, where like, you need to have a degree or be working on it.
Jeez.
But, I mean, yeah. That's for me. I mean, like, what I'm doing right now is working on certifications up to a point, and then going back to school. Technically still enrolled in school, but,
And you're how old now?
24.
Holy crap. That's awesome. You got really this far at that young of an age. I mean, that's pretty legit. I mean, it really means by doing technology stuff, you can really be making good money by the time you're 15 years old. If you really put your heart to it and your mind to it.
I mean, yeah. At the end of the day, if you are willing to put in the work, the stuff is out there. But it's I don't know, and I don't even necessarily know.
The quieter you become, the more you will be able to hear Kali Linux.
Backtrack 6. I don't know what we're gonna do.
I'm assuming VMware similar to, because I only really have a ton of experience with KVM. You have a virtual interface that this is connected to, virtual network interface that your host OS has a virtual network interface that's the gateway for your.
Yeah, like it basically just load up an ISO file and works from that.
Okay.
So it does the same stuff, but the problem is like we can't view my own drives.
Here,
like,
let me.
Drives.
I can't really.
What do you need?
You should.
Trying to get your computer?
This is not gonna. Okay, I'm gonna back this
go
seat
back.
up.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
There you go. Have fun.
Real-time editing and
Okay. First off, let's see what.
Oh, I mean.
For those of us who don't know,
My keyboard's a little off.
you're in the terminal now in Kali, and what exactly are you doing?
IF config, interface config, shows network. information in general about your network interfaces. You can change some stuff with it here. To really change stuff for your network interfaces, you'd want to use Eth-Tool. I believe that is. I've never used it because I've never felt the need to up my MTU or anything. But use this guy if you actually need to really change stuff about a particular network interface. But to see all your IP addresses, etc. So I'm assuming .192.168.1.1 is your host OS.
It should be.
Yeah, so I'd start off with an Nmap on, if you guys know what Nmap is, it's a port scanner, but it also allows for stuff like, let me think, service detection. It can sometimes tell like what OS, what, depending on what you're using.
Really?
Yeah, for example, a lot of, it's pretty easy to get Apache, you know, based on its default settings, to tell you a fair amount of information about what OS it's running on, you know, what version it is. But so...
Yeah.
Really? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've already done this in my house. I already have, if you go to Armitage, it should have all the stuff already loaded up. You could do...
I really like this version of Kali. It reminds me a lot of the KDE and
just like .1.star.
GNOME styling of GUIs.
I can't do a -A. That's would take way too long. Well, actually, no. There's only one host on here, so I should be fine with that.
Yeah. Yeah, that should come up with it.
Now, in your mindset, Rob, what can you utilize Kali Linux for? What is the main goal of using Kali Linux?
Well, it is a pen testing distribution. I don't know enough about pen testing to really use it for anything. You know, at my old job at one point I was like, I'm gonna try to kind of do like a security assessment of our internal network, and it was like I don't know why I'm not getting what your gateway is for this.
And you just go back into Windows and just do.
Yeah, I don't know why I can't ping. Why I couldn't. Yeah, this keyboard's killing me.
I know. It took a while to get used to.
What kind of computer
really
do you
strange. Me?
What kind of computer is this you're using?
Oh, this is the Sager. This is the one I showed you last time.
It's a Sega what?
Sager. S-A-G-E-R.
Sega.
And just do Windows key R. Are you trying to open command prompts? Or what are you trying to do?
Yeah, command.
Windows key R, and then do CMD. Should be ready. Press enter.
No.
Yeah, it should be there. And just do the IP config. Alright.
You said this thing is an i5
Oh, it's not
processor?
2.9, it's not that one. That's the issue.
That's strange. Then I
don't know why it's set up like that.
yeah, because that makes sense that this can't,
Find it, yeah.
because it thinks its address is .1.1.
You could just type in the exact IP, I guess, then, right?
Well, I don't even know if I'll be able to ping it unless I set the.
Switch. I know the keyboard's a pain in the ass.
Are you using Borak or something? No, it's QWERTY.
It's QWERTY, but it's offset. Like, the keys are...
Yeah, I might have to change the. See, this is where I start failing, like with not knowing Debian stuff as well. I don't know if this has a sysconfig. Yeah, see, I don't know how to change, how to set the script for the network settings.
Now, Rob, do you use this at work at all, or what kind of programs are you normally using at work?
The big thing I use is something called PC3000, which is a hardware-software complex.
Really?
And has a... has a tool to deal with drive firmware. It has a really feature-rich imager.
Okay.
Easily the best imaging software/hardware I've ever used.
Imaging as in what type of imaging?
For imaging drives.
Imaging drives.
Yeah, imaging media of some sort. And it also has a more of a kind of data recovery side to it as well. In terms of having for finding files, etc. But it's overall very, very feature rich, very expensive too.
Oh, yeah, is this available for everybody, or is this something that you have to purchase from the actual company?
Yeah, it's like a $10,000 for
Wow.
each license. So
Are you allowed to say the name of the company?
yeah, it's Ace Laboratories. It's not like anything.
Ace Laboratories?
Yes,
That's pretty sweet. And what's the name of the program again?
PC 3000.
PC-3000. And does it actually come with hardware, or is it only software?
Yeah, it comes with hardware and software. The hardware, my understanding part of the okay, I have no idea how to change it. I don't even remember how to change IP addresses with it. Yeah, I think the big reason they have the hardware is so that people can't pirate it.
Oh, really?
I think that's a good portion of why it exists. It certainly has functions, but
Well, if you're spending that much time on developing, some software to get stuff for a specific type of customer set, you definitely don't want everybody and their mom getting it. I mean, I see it from that standpoint.
no, absolutely.
I mean, if you're going to try to make money, you need to repay back all your developers and all your sponsors. You definitely want to, figure that part of it out.
Excuse me.
Let's see if this works.
So now, what were you trying to do in the terminal, Rob?
Just for right now, change the IP address of the Ethernet interface for this, and don't remember how to do this through ifconfig. I'm gonna have to, unfortunately, use a GUI tool right now.
That's okay.
God forbid you use the GUI.
I'm not comfortable with this, but it's okay. I'm judging me.
You just want to add, yeah?
Yeah, all you viewers out there, you guys suck if you don't know how to use the terminal.
No, you do.
Yeah, you're bad.
No, I mean, you do kind of need to learn how to use the terminal. There's a lot of stuff you can't do through the GUI.
Which I'm finding out with Backtrack, being a noob and looking at this stuff, this is interesting to me. Like, I'm really going to have to learn a lot more on how to just do the normal stuff. Editing config files, adding in stuff, doing the bash stuff, all that.
That's why I started using Armitage first. I know that's a lot easier. At least from a window user standpoint.
I don't even remember what Armitage is.
What's the GUI version of Metasploit?
Yeah, and does that come with Kali Linux?
Yep.
Okay, so Backtrack 5 version and Kali Linux both have Armitage.
Yeah.
And the Metasploit software suite?
Kind of. I mean, it's just like the GUI version of it. It does all the same stuff, except some of the exploits aren't always kept up to date on Armitage compared to how they are in Metasploit. So
Oh, really?
it just makes it easier for people who aren't really knowing what they're doing.
This is. I don't know what's going on with this. This is insisting that
I mean, that's what most of our episodes have been. It's just troubleshooting all our issues.
Which is good. I want people to really get an idea that you don't necessarily need to know something about a program. Just get it, do it, start doing something.
okay, yeah, I don't know what's going on with this. Why this is thinking that the
Go back to the Windows.
the gateway is 1.1.
Yeah. What is it right now?
Should be.
It's the IP, and then. Do you want to change it through Windows?
What do you mean?
You can change the VMware network adapter through Windows. You have to go. Let's see. Just type in computer,
This Windows 8 is so weird to me.
and just click on press enter. All right. Let's go to network at the bottom. Network and sharing center on the left. All right. I don't know which one's using. It might be that one or is the other one.
Is there like a console for the VMware player?
I don't think so. Actually, yeah. Go on VMware Player again. just click on it on the, just go back to the desktop. Alright, and then right click on the VMware player. And just hit VMware player again. Yeah, that one. And then click on the Kali. And then just go to cycle. It'll take a second to load it. Oh man, it's in use, so it won't let us do it. But there's a way you can just check. Go back to the Kali VM. And go back to the top. And yeah, hit the drop down for player. And removable devices. Network adapter. Settings. So, oh no, I have this bridged.
What do you have bridged?
So
what is bridging?
Basically, I have Kali bridged on through my Windows thing, so it's using all my Windows information.
Oh well, that would explain that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like how this is something that you go, like someone calls you from like a random office number in like a giant building, and then you have to go up there, and then you find out the entire time that it was bridged. This is the exact problem they would go through if you're the guy that has to fix it. If you're in some big giant government building or some sort of building, or you're working on some sort of project with people using VMware, this is the exact issue.
Probably want to set to NAT would be on my.
I forgot why I had to change it to bridge. There was a reason why I had to change it to bridge, but I guess we can just keep it as NAT then. Okay.
Also, this back on DHCP.
But we're not connected to the internet though, so how's it going to get to a DHCP server though?
It should, VMware should be acting as a DHCP server for it.
Oh.
Yeah, assuming there should be a DHCP server running for the virtual interface.
Really?
Yes. Also, kind of network manager is kind of a pain in the ass.
Unrecognized device?
Recognized
servers.
Okay. Excuse me, network-manager.
Oh yeah, you've listed
Worst
all.
part is, on CentOS, it's network, capital N, capital M for manager. I'm like, oh, whoops.
How long have you been using CentOS for?
Since I started getting really into, it's not managed.
I've seen a couple of YouTube videos on CentOS. I've never actually installed it on any of my devices yet. It seems pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely not great as a desktop OS.
Really? It's more for production and work and...
Yeah. But I mean, I use it on everything just because it's what I know the best. But it really depends on what you're using it for. If you want to use something Red Hat based, I can't really call Fedora Red Hat based.
Yeah.
Because it's very, very different, and there's also more of a testing ground for Red Hat, for stuff for Red Hat. But I would use that. Although I prefer CentOS tends to be a more streamlined OS on the whole. You know, I can
Streamlined how? The GUI is just better, or the...
No, it's actually pretty.
The terminal.
Shitty. It's pretty shitty. Just as an OS, it's a lot more. You know, I can boot my desktop install of CentOS and have it boot, a couple virtual machines, and it boots a hell of a lot faster than just an install of Fedora.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you timed it, how long it takes to boot it?
No, because I don't care about that. I'm not one of those people that's like, let me install an SSD so I can get this to boot 2 seconds faster.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's kind of silly. But like, it's faster, and it's especially like the minimal install of CentOS is very good, I think, for a minimal install of an operating system.
That's badass.
Like, it's very fucking. It has like 10 services installed.
Have you had any problems installing CentOS on any specific devices?
Nope.
And how does it, with the whole UEFI thing, has it been able to get around UEFI?
What do you mean?
Lock down bootloaders and things like that?
Never installed anything that had a lockdown bootloader on it. I've never had to do anything.
Lockdown BIOS. I'm sorry.
No, I know what you mean. I've never installed it on anything with that, so I mean, I don't know. I think that's kind of that is kind of a silly thing, but I mean, it's.
Yeah, I had to deal with that myself because I have a Samsung 17-inch laptop, and it's fantastic. It's 8 gigs of RAM, it's a 2 terabyte drive, it's an i7 processor. I think I got it for $500 on Amazon, and it's fantastic. The problem was it was a lockdown BIOS, and here I am deployed, and I can't just download things. I had a little tiny SD card, and I was trying to use it, and it just really didn't work to get it on there. It took me about 15 hours to do it. So.
Assuming that.
Yeah, and what version of the VMware player are you using on this?
VMware Player 6.
Number 6?
Yeah.
And you're using the latest version of Windows 8?
No, I'm not using... The latest version is 8.1. This is still 8, so...
And has that been better or worse with VMware?
I mean, it's fine. The problem with 8.1 is that for the competitions I do, 8.1 isn't exactly user-friendly because, like, a lot of stuff won't load yet. So they just figured out how to get it to work for 8, and they still are working on trying to get it to work for 8.1. So I'm just going to keep using 8 for it.
Really?
It has to do with, like, the scoring bot, so, like, how they score the image that you work on. If you're using 8.1, it has a lot of, like, connection drops and stuff like that. It starts to become a pain in the ass, especially when you only have, like, 6 hours to do what you need to do, and if you can't get your score recorded.
Wow. This is for Patriot what?
This is for the Cyber Patriot stuff.
Cyber Patriot.
Yeah.
Did you get to do any of that before, Rob?
No.
It's only been going for 3 years.
Well, I mean, I don't know anything about it. I just,
That makes me sound really old when you say it like that.
Sorry.
I'm even older. I'm 28. I'll be 29 later on this month.
17.
Dynamic host. Well, no minors in my car.
Oh, sorry.
You have to lie about that age from now on.
Alright.
Well, no, when I first met Kyle, I was like, hey, bro, do you want a beer? And I didn't realize, you were not 21. I just figured everybody around me is 21. Just, all right. I mean, we're all humans, right?
You just, like, see a baby and assume they're 21.
You're 21, right? So what are you trying to do now?
I'm trying to just run the DHCP client on here, see if it'll grab a DHCP address, but it doesn't look like it. There's a lot of difference in service management, not a ton, but like a fair amount of difference between Red Hat based stuff and Debian based stuff right now. So I think Red Hat uses Upstart, and I don't remember what they use, but stuff is fairly different. Like there's no sysconfig folder, which is what I'm used to for configuring stuff like this. Like that's how
You want to try to boot something else in VMware?
I mean, you have to download an ISO file, though. That's the problem. Like, you can't just, like, pick a Linux.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You have to download either, like, a VM, or you have to download an ISO and set it up manually.
Really?
And the only one I still have a Backtrack one, and I have the Kali one as well. And I have a couple Windows ones, but that's not going to help.
Really?
I mean, what are we going to do? Load up Vista. Play around with that. I mean, I could get some other Linux distros installed. I think I had damn small Linux on here for a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but then I got rid of it because it was useless for me, I guess. I didn't know what to use it for.
What does the CD code do again?
change directory.
Ah, yes. I haven't done that in a very long time.
Are you just trying to change the IP on there? Or what are you trying to do for it?
I'm trying to change the IP on here. I'm not.
Actually, if you'd like to want me to grab your computer, we could do like a quick little tutorial on CentOS real quick.
If you want to.
Yeah.
I'll just keep playing with mine.
And stop.
My former
Death Metal Chronicles Technology Adventures number 9 with Rob, and this is the ThinkPad what?
This is a X200.
X200.
It's got a dual core processor and 4 gigs of RAM. It's
Really?
not as awful as it looks.
Okay.
It looks like shit. I won't argue with that. But
It's got an RJ11. That's what I'm talking about.
What's an RJ11?
does it?
Yeah, it does.
It has, yeah.
It's a phone jack.
This was probably really nice when it came out, though.
So you can do like internet from dial-up.
Exactly.
So you're running CentOS number 6, Rob, and what do you got going on here?
Well, right now I was hibernating, so I'm waiting for it to stop hibernating.
How much did you get this for?
This I bought for $50 from someone. $50 for this and something else, but that was like a friend, so it was
Really?
yeah, I just recently bought this.
This seems like a pretty hardcore machine. I mean, the bottom looks like it has like 4 batteries.
This is a
to it.
docking station for it. This
Oh, really?
This part is the docking station.
Okay.
So I can do things like burn CDs.
What's
I don't know if I can
a
burn
CD?
DVDs. A CD? it's a disc, only it's compact.
It's
Storage
compact.
device.
Yeah.
It's a storage device. What does it do?
Stores information.
Stores information.
I think it's like
In the ISO 9660 file system.
I love how you actually know.
we're talking single side or dual side.
Don't even get me started. There we go. The screen on this is incredibly dim because it's not connected to the
That's not bad.
battery. But so what do you want to know about?
What's CentOS, man? What do you like about it?
What I like about it is that Red Hat based stuff is probably better to learn from a professional standpoint, and this aims to be a binary compatible clone of Red Hat.
Binary compatible clone?
Yeah, like exactly Red Hat, only with Red Hat branding removed.
Really?
CentOS actually Red Hat just started supporting CentOS like as a project. I don't know a ton about what that's gonna mean for the future,
Yeah.
but they started doing that, which
Now, why use this sort of machine with CentOS than say something else?
this machine because it was incredibly cheap.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't want to pay a lot for a laptop.
I mean, I love Lenovo and the original ThinkPads like these. I mean, they've really got me into Linux because it was just such a hardcore machine. It was I forget, it had the highest resolution of the time.
Oh well, this thing's not that great. This thing's kind of, oh well, oops, that's one of my. Well, this is an example of this. Actually, is more services than are installed by default on a minimal CentOS installation. So that's really nice.
What did you add to it?
Web server. I may have just added the web server. I think I added the, what does SASL stand for? Something. Simple Authentication Security Layer daemon. Which is, I don't really have the time to go into right now. But, so I added a couple of services
Yeah.
on here. I don't think I added this too. So it was very, very minimal, guy. But, yeah.
So now,
give me something to do.
What can you do with CentOS for work that you can't do with anything else?
Nothing. It's just it might be.
What's your favorite thing in CentOS, I guess, that you're doing with this thing?
Well, like I said earlier, I've kind of been into the idea of learning how to use that SSL toolkit. But this doesn't even have the man command installed. Like I don't have man pages. That's how minimal this virtual machine is. So.
Wait, so what's the point of CentOS? Just to like.
Red Hat clone.
Oh, all right.
That's basically it. It's close Red Hat, but without money involved.
Nice.
So this is essentially just it is a program that's a command line tool to use the OpenSSL crypto library and use all the functions of it. You can make keys, make certificates, etc., etc.
Oh, really?
I can calculate checksums with it, etc. So
I've heard people talk about OpenSSL. Now, for the noob, what is SSL encryption?
SSL is the secure sockets layer. Would you like to?
I just know what it is. I don't actually know it.
It is is it layer 4?
It's what encrypts your Wi-Fi traffic, right?
It's what encrypts
Over your browser.
Network traffic. I mean, I wouldn't say I think there's probably. I'm not a huge network guy, but there's probably other methods of encrypting network traffic. There is. Well, there is. There's lower layers like IPsec, which it encrypts at layer 3. So I can encrypt the entire connection between two machines, and all. At least I don't know if it'd be TCP and UDP. I'm kind of speaking out my ass a little bit right now. I'm not really a network
But you
guy.
use OpenSSL, this program, inside of CentOS to create the key.
Yeah, let's say I want to.
Also, when he's referencing the numbers, it's the OSI model.
Yes.
Layers.
Thank you. This isn't actually. I don't even know a ton about it. I know how to generate an RSA key. I've been doing a sudo open. What is it? Open. What is it? Open SSL. 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 Open OpenSSL GenRSA dash out. Is it? Yeah, out. And then the file. But it's like I can't... I'm trying to think. There's other... Because I feel like I don't have a ton of the options I would when I use GenRSA as the kind of first command for it. See, this is where I'm falling short already. I'm like, I don't really know off the top of my head how to, like, make, like, a DSA key, you know?
Now,
And it doesn't... I can't really see in the man page, because the man page is really minimal, because there's too many damn things you can do with it.
now, other stuff inside of CentOS.
Gen DSA. That would make sense.
Gen DSA?
Yes, to make a DSA key versus an RSA key.
And that's a file type? Or
DSA is just a type of key for encryption, for public key encryption.
Okay.
I believe DSA is the federal government has stuff with like if we're encrypting something from like for like government purposes, you need to use a DSA key, I think.
Oh, really?
And
so you'd actually use
talking out my ass a little bit again.
But you would use this OpenSSL.
Yeah, and you could use
program.
tons of other things that would essentially use the OpenSSL crypto library. This is just kind of, for me, it's kind of like I would feel like I'm kind of cutting out the middleman a little bit. So
that's sweet. What other programs inside of CentOS have you been using lately?
For work
Or studying, or whatever.
For studying, I've been doing a ton of stuff with Apache. But
what programs on here are for Apache?
HTTPD, the Apache daemon. Also, that's the main thing. I've been editing Apache configuration files, etc.
So learning how to edit those
and
files
dealing
for an
with Apache
server?
modules and whatnot. Yeah.
Apache's just a website hoster thing, right?
Yeah, it's a HTTP daemon.
Mm-hmm.
And what is a HTTP daemon?
Well, when a connection comes in on port 80 or port 443, if it's for encrypted traffic, this will, assuming the request is valid, will supply. It's a stateless connection, so you will just say, give me this, and it will give you what you're asking for, provided it has the ability to do that. For example, I've been doing all my stuff on here on this virtual machine, creatively named CentOS 2. We got a couple sites. I would say, show me what's in site 1. Oops. And it would serve up the contents of this directory.
Nice.
With whatever, else. At its simplest core, that's what it will do. And as is a stateless connection, that just means I have to keep sending requests to ask for it. The connection doesn't stay open, but
that's legit. And for your Red Hat certification, you need to have Apache as part of it, or? Yeah,
there's objectives relating to Apache. There's objectives relating to a lot of network services.
Really?
The Red Hat Certified Engineer covers a lot of ground. Maybe not in a lot of depth, but a lot of ground.
Interesting. And how long have you been studying for it so far?
Well, I got my Red Hat Certified System Administrator 2 months ago, maybe. Mm-hmm. Maybe a little less, something like that. And since then I'd studied some of the Red Hat Certified Engineer objectives before that, but I've been getting hardcore studying just those for the past maybe 2 months.
Wow, that's really cool.
It's pretty cool.
Any advice on people trying to study for the Red Hat? You're a certified administrator now, right?
Yeah, I'm a Red Hat Certified Administrator. I'm working on Red Hat Certified Engineer. Just, for me, it's helped that big thing for me in learning, especially getting good with the command line, is anything I need to do or want to do, figure out how I can do it through the command line and do it that way only.
And not using the GUI, being very dependent on programs?
Yeah, I had to, for one of the objectives, I'm legally not allowed to say what any of the stuff on the Red Hat exams were, but for one of them I had to use a GUI tool because it was slipped my mind, but almost everything I was just editing configuration files or using command line tools. But
wow.
Also, a big thing for me has been I don't use anything other than CentOS, really, unless I'm at work.
So you're not exactly familiar with a lot of the major Red Hat and Fedora commands or different things you need to do with it? Basically, you're not using it as much as you don't have this familiarity with Red Hat?
No, I would say if anything, I'm familiar with Red Hat. I'm not as familiar with Debian-based stuff.
Ah,
But
that's pretty cool.
I mean, there's stuff that is not Linux distributions that are not Red Hat or Debian-based, but most of them that people use are mostly Debian-based and then some Red Hat-based.
Badass.
Okay,
So this has been Death Metal Chronicles Technology Adventures number 9. I'm Wolf.
Kyle.
I'm Rob.
And we love the viewers, and if you guys have any more questions or need to know more stuff, hit us up. Peace.